In today's video, we are going to be breaking down Julius Randle and how he shoots the basketball. Julius Randle has been an amazing player for the New York Knicks this year, so let's get down, let's check out how he shoots the ball, and of course some tips on how you can shoot the ball better yourself. Okay, so in this first clip, what do we see? Well, actually he gathers the ball right at his thighs, between his knees and his hips. What we also see is that his left foot is slightly tilted away from the rim towards the right side, but his right foot seems to be pretty well straight on. But we have another angle as well, but we're going to be breaking down that part of his shot anyways. Next, we want to look at his shoulders, and his shoulders are pretty well in line with his knees and his toes, and we can see that from other clips as well. When he brings that ball up into his set point being roughly right about there, we do see that there's a 90-degree angle roughly on his elbow, but there is a larger than 90-degree angle on his shoulder. We also notice that his wrist is not bent all that much, only slightly. Some players like Michael Jordan, you'll see wrinkles on his wrist, obviously with higher quality video, but we actually see that his hand is technically underneath the ball, but at the same time, if he was shooting at a 90-degree on his shoulder, that would be actually behind the ball. His set point being above his forehead, above his head totally actually, and he is also not square towards the basket, his shoulders and left knee being slightly tilted away from the rim. They're actually pretty well tilted right towards the baseline, but the rim being way over here. He has good energy transfer because he goes and plants on his toes, and then he brings that ball up into his set point, not bending his elbow hardly at all to get up into his set point from his gather. And then when he does go up for his jump, we notice that he extends his legs at the exact same time of him leaving the ground. This is exactly what you want to see. You can see how he leaves the ground, his knees being straightened out as soon as he leaves the ground. Now all of that power has moved up into, in this case, now his elbow, and now that strength has now been pushed into his wrist and of course the ball. You want to have nice energy transfer if you're shooting the ball at a high level. Now, some little small points that I do notice with Julius Randle's shot. If we watch his right foot, we actually notice that it's pointed towards the rim, same as his right knee. However, his left side is tilted away from the rim, same as his body is also tilted away from the rim as well. I know there are some coaches and trainers who will say you need to be square towards the basket. That's not always the case. The reason is because you want to have that shoulder in line with that elbow, and you generally want to have that ball over top of your shoulder or your upper arm or your elbow. That's going to allow you to have a straight shot in most cases. We see that he brings the ball up the middle of his body and shoots from the middle of his forehead, technically above his head, not his forehead. I also want you to really focus on this right foot as well. When he goes up into his set point, he does actually lift up the heel, but it goes from being pointed towards the rim to be pointed away from the rim. Once he gets up into his set point, we see that the elbow and shoulder are in line. That should give him a straight shot. However, we do see that the elbow is slightly out of plane from the ball, which generally means that that ball is going to go out towards the right side. Now, how Julius Randle and some other players like Steph Curry adapt to this is by having a thumb flick, and that's actually what Julius Randle has. We can see that right there, where he actually flicks slightly to get that ball up over top of that arm, which now allows him to have that straight shot. Also, nice arc and also nice rotation on that shot. Now, if we want to really focus in on that wrist, we see that he has a hard flick. So his hand doesn't curve like this like a Curry, it's more like a Michael Jordan where it's a hard flick. If you have a soft release, that's generally going to give you more arc. However, if you have a hard release like we see here, that's going to give you more backwards rotation on that ball, which then allows it to hit that rim a lot lighter, a lot softer. His release fingers as well are the middle finger as well as that pointer finger. This tells me that thumb flick really does have a lot to do with his shot. However, if you have a thumb flick, I really want to emphasize this. If you have no arc on your shot, or if you have no backwards rotation on your shot, you need to get rid of your thumb flick. However, if your thumb flick releases from the ball before your actual hand releases from the ball, you have arc on your shot, and you have backwards rotation, that means that thumb flick is really not doing anything other than pushing that ball a little bit more higher up into your shot so that now you have a straighter shot. This is an adaptation that you cannot force on yourself. This is an adaptation that just happens, essentially being born with it, I guess you could say. And then when he shoots that ball and he lands, he does land a little bit more tilted away from the rim as well, which then also usually can push that ball more towards that right side. However, we don't see that with his shot. Now, overall, Julius Randle's shot is very complex. This is not something that I would try to imitate as a player. The reason being is the more complex your shot is, the harder it is to make that shot. He has taken a lot of practice shots. He has done a lot of work to allow that shooting form to work for him. Now, could he have changed a few things? Maybe not. There are ways that your body is built that you just cannot have a Klay Thompson style shot. Or even a Kyle Guy style shot. So that being said, if you are shooting with a thumb flick, if you have no arc, or if you have no backwards rotation, definitely remove that thumb flick. If you have backwards rotation and you have arc, then it's not something that you necessarily have to get rid of, because believe me, it is extremely hard to get rid of a thumb flick. It will take about a year. So these are some tips that you can do to be able to get rid of a thumb flick. And that is shooting close to the rim and really focusing on your guide hand, not having a thumb flick, literally just releasing with one hand, but still having that guide hand there when you're shooting. Literally, that's what it is. You take a step back, do the exact same thing. The reason why we all have, or some of us have thumb flicks, myself, Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, and many others, is because when we were younger, usually we did not have the power to shoot with one hand, or we just did not get it emphasized enough. However, the way we have adapted is because now it is part of our shot, but it is not affecting our arc or our backwards rotation. I hope that this video has helped you become a better basketball player. If it has, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.